All right, so now we're to the point where we're going to create a budget spreadsheet. So this is one of the elements that is required in the capstone project. And what you're going to do is, first of all, make sure you appropriately name your spreadsheet file. I just named mine, my last name _ sample budget spreadsheet. Of course, you just put capstone spreadsheet. So you can just change the name. You guys know how to do that, at least should. So what we're working toward is getting graphs in here and the budget like this. So I'm going to show you how to recreate this basically. We're just going to do it over to the side. So I'm going to go ahead and type Mr. Miller's monthly budget. I'll type it right here. There we go. Okay, so there's my monthly budget, and just in the interest of time, I'm going to copy and paste all this in here, and you are, of course, are going to make sure that you have everything in and accounted for. You need to look at your outline, make sure you have everything in there. When you look at the budget, it's got all of your required elements, so just make sure you do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this here, and I'm going to pull that out. And actually a really cool way to do that is if it's back here, if you double click on it after it gets that double arrow, it'll snap to that size. Pretty cool little tip. All right, so I want this to be bigger, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this bigger. I'm going to make it, we'll say 14. We'll make it bold. Looks pretty good. Now I like to make it a little bit fancy, so we're going to go ahead and combine these two. So I'm going to click and drag over. I'm going to hit this button that says Merge Cells. So I'm going to merge it, and then I'm going to click on this Align tool, and I'm going to center align it. There you go. Now, I'm going to get rid of this guy just to show you how we get that line. If you don't remember how we get that border line, we just click and highlight that. Those two cells. We're going to go up to the Borders button, and we're going to go to this button right here. And you can change the line thickness and everything if you want by changing some of these border color and such. So we're going to leave that alone for now. I'll let you play with those for your project. So we're going to go up here and we're going to shade it. So again, these are all elements you're going to need to be responsible for in the rubric. So we're going to click on that. We're going to go over to this first row, which is a nice kind of pastel colors. There's like a pinkish color. I'm going to go with like a light green. There we go. I like to stay away from these colors. Whoops. Control Z for undo. I like to stay away from these colors here because they're just like super bright and in your face. I like the pastel colors like that. Get the right one I wanted back there. There we go. All right. So now we're going to go ahead and get them formatted into money like this. So when I do that, I'm going to go ahead and click here, and I'm going to highlight all of these. So I'm going to have a running total here. My total is going to be down here, but I first want to make sure everything's got money. The real easy way to do it is just format as currency. I mean, that's the shortcut. You can go into format, number, and play around with different things. You can make it rounded. You can do all kinds of things. So I'm just going to go ahead and click that, and it's going to go ahead and format it for me. At least it should. So when I put my housing budget, let's see what I have here, $2,000 for spending for housing. Let's put $2,000. Boom, there's $2,000, and so on and so forth. So I'm just going to, in the interest again of examples here, I'm just going to copy and paste these results in just to show you how this works, and there we go. Now you can see this one just has the number 20. Well, I want it to make sure we have a currency, so I click there, boom, now it's 20. And looks like I've got a different font there, so change that to Calibri, and I think it was 12. Yep, perfect. All right, now it looks good. All right, so how do we do the total? So now we're going to do the total. When we do the total, what we're going to do is go over here to that box or the cell down there. We're going to go over here to the functions menu, and we'll go to sum. And when we hit that, it is expecting a relative formula, and now it's expecting us to tell us tell it what cells we want. So we just click on this. We go down. I want to highlight those cells. I click enter, and it's going to automatically total it for me. So just for some, get it a little fancy here, we're going to click B for bold. I'm going to make it a bigger number like that. And that's looking pretty good. And of course, the advantage of that, if my car payment, let's say if I paid $250 for a car payment, boom, there you go. It automatically adjusts that. Let's say I spent $150 on dining out. There you go. So you've got all of those elements there. Now, there's one thing I am going to add to this. We're going to add total income, or we're going to add monthly income. And I'm going to make that bold, and I'm going to make it aligned to the right, so it's like that. So let's say my monthly income is, let's see here, let's say, we'll say $2,800, and I'm going to make that money, currency, there we go. And let's say that we are going to have a, we want to see how much we have left over. So we're going to make one called expenses, like that. And again, I should have done this all at once. That's all right. Okay, and those are my expenses. Well, my expenses are right here. So there's an easy way to do this. If I click equals, or hit equals, and then click on this cell and hit equals, it's going to put whatever I have in there. So if I change this to $150 and close, it changes that automatically. Now, this is how we want to do the math. So once we go ahead and put a borderline underneath this, I want to know if I'm overspending or not. So I am going to make a quick formula. So I'm going to put equals in this cell. I want my monthly income minus my expenses, this one. Now you can see this is a negative number. Well, that's not good, because that means I'm spending more than I'm putting and I'm bringing in. So I've got to find a way to cut here. Let's say I only spend $50 on clothes. You can see that's changing. Let's change my monthly income. Say I get another job. Well, I'm still short. That is the way that we can go ahead and make this happen. This is exactly what you want to do in real life. I mean, if I can cut some money off my cell phone bill, make it $80. See, maybe only $1,500 for house payment. You see I'm getting there. So it's important that you create this to to make sure that you know exactly what you're going to spend. I'm just gonna, while I'm talking here, gonna change some of these numbers, and that is something that is really, here's a color. You want to know whether or not you have enough money to live or not, and right now that's certainly not the case. So you need to adjust your budget that way. So that's a really easy way to do this, and how to create your spreadsheet. So this is what I'm expecting you to do for the spreadsheet option.